All right. Welcome back. Basement Birds.
Yeah.
Both of our heads look a little different today. I've got my hat on. Reid went with a new do. I like it.
Thank you.
Nicole's coming down. Nicole has not seen the haircut yet. Do we want to
Your
get a live
haircut or
reaction
mine?
of... No, Nicole.
Well, both, I guess.
Reid's. Do you want to see... Let's get a live reaction of Reid's haircut. Come here. Ready?
Are you covering up my screen?
I'm covering your
Wait,
face.
Nicole
yeah.
needs to be on camera.
Yeah, you got to be on camera.
Crouch down.
You got to crouch down and come this way.
Yep. Okay, there we go.
You ready? Boom. Thoughts?
I was not expecting that. It looks nice, Reid.
It looks
Thank
good.
you.
You have a nice shaped head. You know that?
Oh, I've been told that
if I
before
shave
by my
head,
barber.
I have like a lumpy head. Like I don't know.
It's relatively smooth. I have this like weird there's like a dent here that is kind of fun. I discovered that, or not like a dent, but like I don't know, it's like a groove because everyone's got those. You know.
Well, I mean, I was dropped on my head as a child, so I have a lot of flat
Logan's just
spots.
got a big like
Explains a
Grand
lot.
Canyon in the middle of his head. You know.
I have a headphone dent. I wonder if
you
you could see it.
Okay, goodbye.
It got worse during COVID.
Is it in your skull
probably
or is it
can't
in your
see
hair?
It's definitely in the skull.
Like is it just very deep down in your
It's
hair,
covered
you
by
know?
the hair. The
Yeah.
hair is covering it. But
Have you seen the stream clip of Tim the Tat Man discovering
Oh,
that
yeah.
he has a headphone dent?
yeah, and then all
It's
the
a
memes
classic.
that came along with that.
Yeah, because he's yelling at his chat. He's like, "No, I don't have a headphone dent." And then he looks in his you see him looking at the camera. He's like, "Oh gosh, I do." You know? That's a great one. That's a classic one.
That was that was prime COVID entertainment right there.
Yeah, that was around. That wasn't that. That was pandemic
Like,
time. Yeah. Everyone was
Discovering.
inside so much. You were watching Tim the Tat Man and his headphone dent. You know.
Yeah, that's insane.
Oh gosh.
But I'm surprised. I mean, I could not rock that haircut outside here in Chicago because it was when I woke up and got in my car. It said -2 on my.
Oh, it was very cold. We're expecting some cold weather next week too, so I've been rocking the hat. We're supposed to be
This is my
supposed to be-
cold weather snow blowing hat or my shoveling hat. I guess I should say our snow blower. We don't have a
we're
snow
supposed to
blower.
be pretty close to negative temperatures next week. Like 10 degrees on Tuesday is the high, -7 is the low.
Yeah, this is no.
Partly
Not a
sunny.
fan.
That's gonna do a lot.
It was sunny out today, and it
was still
a
cold.
balmy -2 out
Yeah.
this morning. So
Yeah. The January freeze is hitting. We have these relatively mild Decembers, I feel like, and then January it's like bam, full force winter, you know?
yeah,
It's like a
here, let me
truck.
slap you in the face real quick with
Yeah,
this
with
cold weather.
cold.
You're like, oh god.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm not a fan.
I'm not
really
either.
not. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like as time goes on, the seasons are shifting. Like I feel like it used to get cold and snow like in December, and now as I become older and later in my life, the coldness doesn't start till January. Like it snowed like a couple days last week, right? And even this week too, it was snowing, and so I'm like, okay, maybe I don't know what's going on here, but
Yeah, I feel like this winter too for Christmas was the first time that there's been a white Christmas back home where I'm from in, gosh, who knows how long? I couldn't remember the one previous from that. And then literally 2 days later, it was 45 and it all melted.
yeah, it was
Which was
outside
wild.
sunbathing,
Yeah, practically in comparison. Yeah,
going
Crazy.
swimming in the backyard ice rink because it was so warm. But
oh gosh,
no, I want to take us back on this episode to a time when winter was in winter months, right? When winter started in December.
okay, hold up. January is a winter month, though. Okay.
Yes, but
If it's not a January
it's
month,
going to
then
be
what is it?
snowing in March. It's going to be snowing end of March,
Yeah,
and you know that.
Fair. Yeah. I would still consider.
So-
do we consider March winter or spring?
I don't
I
know.
feel like for
I
me,
feel like
April
St.
is the
Patrick's
first.
Day.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of the halfway mark. Like April for me is probably the first full month of spring.
Yeah,
You know,
Like halfway
kind of
through
midway
March.
through March. Yeah. Yeah.
You better believe it better be warm by St. Patrick's Day. But I'm taking us back to a time when it's cold, starts getting cold. Thanksgiving, December 1, it's snowing.
Yeah.
White Christmas, beautiful place
something
for
out
Santa
of-
to land his sleigh.
It's a Wonderful Life,
I want to take us back to 1925. Okay,
Wow.
I've been seeing a trend on the internet, the interweb. This intermediary that we're communicating through right now.
Uh-huh.
And I want to go through some predictions that
Before we-
were made in 1925
Before-
about 2025.
Before we do this, can we talk about some big things? I found this list of big events that happened in 1925.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, so we can get
Okay.
in the headspace here.
Yeah.
Of
okay. Take your mind back to 1925. Okay.
the
January
time
5th.
of Archibald Lowe. That's who we're
Jan-
going to be talking about in a minute. Archibald Lowe.
January 5th, only 10 days ago, 100 years ago, Nellie Ross, first female governor of Wyoming. Okay. 2 days before that, Mussolini declares himself dictator of Italy. In May, John Scopes would be arrested for teaching evolution in Tennessee, which was illegal at the time. Let's see. The first television pictures were transmitted in 1925.
That's not going to
and
last.
This is really interesting. Listen to this. Charles F. Brannock patented the Brannock device for measuring shoe sizes.
That weird metal thing that's like in all shoe stores.
I think so. That's been around that long. That's pretty cool. Brannock device. Yep. That's exactly what it is.
That
Wow.
weird. So and like you don't even have to like see an image of it. You can just know.
You know
like when I say
exactly.
weird metal thing that you like put your foot in.
Yeah.
Like you immediately just know what it is.
I feel like you see it and you hear it when the stuff slides on it because there's like the width thing that slides. You can hear the metal on metal and you can like feel what it feels like when you put your foot in it, Because you always jammed your heel back in that cup and it was always like that metal on it. Yeah.
yeah.
What else we got? There was a tri-state tornado, the deadliest tornado in U.S. history, killed 695 people and caused $17 million in property damage in March of that year. And then there's some other events. Let's see. The Great Gatsby was released by F. Scott Fitzgerald.
Great movie.
The Gold Rush was released by Charlie Chaplin. I assume that's a silent film.
Yeah.
Louis Armstrong
Dude,
recorded his first
recently,
music.
Did I tell you that over the summer I went to S&A Studios in Chicago? S&A Studios was for a while Charlie Chaplin's studios where he like filmed some of his silent movies and like worked out of it. And I got to see like the safe where he would keep like all his film like in the base. It was so cool.
That's pretty cool. One last thing from 1925, which is cool. Mount Rushmore was proposed that year.
Oh,
Let's see what else we got. The New Yorker was published for the first time.
I forget
Coolidge's
that Mount
inauguration.
Rushmore. I forget that Mount Rushmore is in North Dakota. Isn't that such
Yes.
a weird? That's a weird state, North Dakota.
This is interesting. April 6th of that year, a film is shown on an airplane for the first time. That's kind of crazy.
was the
Also,
film?
it doesn't say. 1925 World's Fair in Chicago.
Yes, the Devil in the White City. Have you ever read that book? That's a great
No.
book. Oh my gosh, it's about the serial killer H.H. Holmes in Chicago during the World's Fair in 1925, and that's where actually a lot of the famous buildings came from. That's where like the Museum
sure.
of Science and Industry was built for that. The planetarium was built for that. I'm pretty sure Soldier Field was also built for that.
Okay. That all tracks, yeah.
But H.H. Holmes, if you don't know about H.H. Holmes, you get ready to have your mind blown because this guy was one of the most horrific serial killers ever in the history of
gosh.
Chicago. One of the most famous. This guy built a hotel just to kill people in, and it had like trap doors and like where he could like store. Like it was a wild time where he could like sneak into people's rooms and like kill them.
That's crazy. So it sounds like I just looked up Soldier Field because you got me interested. If they broke ground in 1922, so I don't believe it was built for the World's Fair, but it sure did align itself well with it. What else do we have from 1925? I
Was
found a
it?
good
Did
one.
you say 25?
22. Did I say 25?
Yeah, but that's when they started building. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So they were building at 22 for 25.
Well, let's see what else we got here. June 6th, Walter Chrysler founds Chrysler Corporation.
The Wrigley Gum Corporation, I think, was founded around then too.
Okay.
I think that was a pretty, and that was the first time that the Ferris wheel was ever shown off.
Oh, yeah, that sounds right. Yeah. There's a lot of notes around here about Babe Ruth in here. They were very big on Babe Ruth when they wrote this. For some reason. Like, here we go. Like, August 29th, he's fined $5,000 and suspended for being late to batting practice. Let's see. October 15th, my dad will like this one. The Pittsburgh Pirates win the 22nd World Series.
Oh.
What else we got here? Anything else good? I'm in November. Yeah, I think that those are all the main. The first hockey game takes place at Madison Square Garden, December 15th.
Oh. Well, that
yeah.
wasn't the first hockey game. Maybe the first National Hockey League game in this.
I don't know. That does say just
In the United States, because they had the 100th anniversary of the
first
NHL
professional hockey game held at Madison Square Garden. Yeah, is this just the first game in MSG? Yeah, that's what it sounds like. Okay, that made it seem like maybe that line could have been phrased a little bit differently, but that's okay. The New York Americans lost to the Montreal Canadiens 3-1.
Now wait a second. Are you saying 1925?
Yeah.
See, this says the 1925 World's Fair was held in Paris.
What? What did I see about Chicago? We got some conflicting data here.
Yeah.
Stand by.
It was
One
designed by the
second.
French government.
Okay, let me get some control F in here. The World's Fair opens in Chicago.
October 25th.
This is April 18th.
Specialized exhibit held in Paris, France from April 29th to October 25th, 1925.
Oh. It's the Women's World's Fair.
The what?
The Women's World's Fair.
Was in Chicago or was in Paris?
Yes. Chicago.
Oh.
Okay, they left that out in that part. Okay. This list has its flaws, I think we're determining. But anyway, let's get to the predictions. Enough
All
time
right.
trying to figure out what happened exactly. Let's see what they predicted.
I want to see how accurate some of these are, right? Because some of
Yeah.
them, I think you'll be surprised, are exceedingly close to reality.
Okay.
Right? For example, number one, people will be woken up by a radio alarm clock set to a specific signal replacing a human knocker-uppers. That is a real thing that existed
Yep.
in 1925. Knocker-uppers, guys who would knock on the window to wake you up.
Yeah.
Or radio alarm clocks. I had a radio alarm clock for a
I
long
would say
time.
that's not horribly off. I imagine what they envisioned that to be was like a signal that would get cast out to everyone to wake them up.
Right.
You know? So kind of close, but that's not too far off from setting a time on your smartphone and waking up that way.
Or
or
setting
using
your
a traditional
time
alarm clock.
on an alarm clock. I mean,
Yeah.
you can set your own time. So that's
Yeah.
I feel like we had the better, of the inventions.
Yeah.
But sticking with the radio theme, number 2, personal radio communication. Everyone will have a personal radio set for communication.
Yeah.
So that could be considered the telephone. I mean, I don't
Yep.
know if they're thinking along the lines of radio broadcast kind of thing or what, but
Yeah.
I mean, hey.
Yeah.
And so then number 3, television and loudspeaker news. So newspapers will be replaced by home loudspeakers and a television machine for news and entertainment.
That's pretty close.
I feel like that's pretty gosh darn accurate
Yeah.
if I do say so myself. By the way, this comes from a list from The Guardian. This is
Okay.
Archibald Lowe. Archibald Lowe was a scientist in 1925 who kind of came up with this list of predictions. So,
Oh, yes, yes.
number 4, shopping convenience. Moving stairways and pavements, escalators, and travulators will facilitate shopping.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty accurate. Number 5, global broadcasting. Access
Yeah.
to global broadcasting will be available at the press of a button.
Yep.
Who would know anything about that? Mass media communication, one to many. It's not like that's what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Number 6, secret camera and listening devices. These technologies will be used to catch criminals. Body cams, I feel like. That's pretty accurate, right?
Yeah.
I mean, these are kind of almost scarily accurate. Like,
Yeah.
we haven't had one that's super...
Out there. Yeah, it's not like any, like, cars will fly.
Right. Synthetic clothing. People will wear synthetic felt one-piece suits and hats. So that one's a little
A little bit
strange.
more specific, but yeah, I mean, we have more synthetic clothing and different materials and stuff.
I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm looking for my synthetic felt one-piece suit.
Oh, gosh.
Leotard, dude. Leotard. We're all gymnastic folks doing some back bends.
There you go.
Number 8, automatic telephones. Phones will be automatic, ensuring the correct number is dialed every time. Also known as the cell phone. I mean, I feel like,
Well, I
come
guess
on.
that's just like 1925. I guess your way of calling would be talking to an operator and having them, it would just, I feel like the rotary phone got them there,
Right.
in a sense.
So, yeah, I mean, I guess sticking with communication, the next one, mind-to-mind electrical communication.
All right, now we're getting a little bit far-fetched. Not quite
So this
there.
is direct mental communication via electrical means, and it will be possible in 2025. That's
I mean, if we consider electrical means a cell phone, then yes, but
now. Hear me out.
Yeah.
Hear me out. There are people who have. I guess that's more eye tracking though. They have like cerebral palsy or something like that where they can't move. Like Stephen Hawking, he could type
yes.
and basically, but that wasn't with his mind though. That was with his eyes, I believe.
Okay, yeah, I'm not exactly sure how that system worked, but
Yeah. So I guess I don't know how accurate that one would be, but
close.
I mean, it's pretty close, right? I mean, it
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that was number 9. I've got 17 total on this list, by the way.
Okay.
So I figured we can burn through all 17 here.
Yep. Fire away.
Number 10. Here we go. This one will really knock your socks off. Women in trousers. Women will
Okay.
women wearing trousers will become the norm.
Yeah. I love
So
how
I
like,
imagine
we laugh at that now, but that was wildly like that was like a
radical
wild thought
idea.
back then. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, hey, women are wearing trousers most definitely.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, absolutely.
Good on that. Gender determined before birth. So technology will allow the determination of a baby's gender before it is born. So
Yeah, that's commonplace now.
also that's been commonplace for a long time. I feel
Yes.
like I don't
Yeah.
know. I guess I don't know when the ultrasound was invented, but I mean, hey, I feel like that's still pretty good.
Yeah, that's a good God. When was the ultrasound invented? That's kind of I
don't
don't really
know.
thought about that. I'll
Yeah.
look that up while you're looking at this.
Okay. Well, the next one, though, I feel like is a little controversial. Renewable energy. Wind and tidal energy will be harnessed for human use. So I assume what this is referring to is that the world will be powered with renewable energy, which
It
is
is
and is
we
not
aren't
true at the same
dependent
time.
on it. Yeah.
Well, I think we are dependent on it. I think a lot of homes are powered by renewable energy, but not everybody. And so
Yeah.
we're not at a point where that is like
Yeah, I guess like Yeah, I guess like electricity based, but in terms of like if you think about like the auto industry. Oh, I've also found that the first ultrasound was in 1956, they're saying, in
Okay.
Scotland to measure the head of a fetus. So sometime in that time, yeah. It was that's when it was first used for medical purposes.
I see.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was that one of those things that was invented for something else, and they're like, hey, you know what this would be good for?
That's a good question. I'm not exactly sure.
Maybe that's another list we can go through, like things that were invented for one purpose that...
Yeah, like wasn't that how penicillin
Like
was
we're-
discovered?
Yes, I think that's how a lot of things are discovered. They're like
Yeah.
accidental discoveries, I guess.
Yeah.
And maybe not necessarily all medical things. I'm sure there is a great deal of medical things, but...
I feel like you see it more in the sciences, though.
Right, or like just random inventions. Be like, oh, you know what this would be really good for?
Yeah. All right.
So, number 13, automation of labor. Machines will perform heavy and disagreeable work, making
Yeah.
life easier. I feel like
Yeah.
that. I don't know what
Forklifts.
kind of heavy equipment machinery was going on in 1925, but
Yeah. I'd
So-
say it came true, though. Forklifts,
yeah, forklifts, cranes,
excavators, cranes, dump trucks.
jackhammers. Yeah. Oh, God. Number 14, morning wellness routine. People will engage in light treatment, People will engage in radio light treatment or massages to stay fit and alert for the day.
Okay, yeah, I don't know if that's so much of a daily thing for most people, but people do it.
Radio
massage
light
part, at
treatments?
least.
What?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Is that a
I'd
tanning
like to know
booth?
what you're...
No.
I don't think that's what they're referring. I think they're doing
No.
like electro stim. Like, have you ever had that like stim on your muscles?
No.
Oh,
No.
well, you're telling me they don't do that for your beer league hockey game? They're not
Unfortunately.
guys in the locker room.
I could really
working with
use
the trainer,
it, though. Yeah. I could really use it, though. I will say that.
getting stretched out.
Yeah.
So just a couple more here. Number 15, illuminating streetlights by herbs. Streets may be lit using herbs. Not really sure what that means, but I feel like that's pretty inaccurate considering we had this thing
Yeah.
called the light bulb.
Yeah. I
When
don't
was
really
the light
quite follow
bulb
that one.
invented?
I don't know. Wasn't that Edison?
I said when. I know it was Thomas Edison.
1880.
They had the light bulbs by now in 1925.
Yeah.
Maybe they just didn't have electricity. That's weird.
Yeah.
Well, I guess sticking with electricity, jets
Yeah.
of electrically charged water. This will replace cavalry in military contexts.
That would have been sick.
So, what are we, like, water bending here, like the
We're
Avatar?
shooting
What's going on here?
like electrified water at people. That's sick. It doesn't happen, but it would be amazing if it did. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah,
Or
what?
just electrocute people with a strong blast of water. That's wild.
Is that even possible? I don't even know if you could do that. Like,
I don't know. And yeah, I don't know. It would need to be a very, very high amount of electricity, obviously, Huh.
well, yeah. I mean, it sounds dangerous. I don't know.
That's really
But
interesting.
last one, health and wellness focus. A societal emphasis on health and wellness routines will emerge, aligning with modern trends.
Yeah.
Hello. I feel like that's very
Peloton.
accurate. I don't know.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
though.
Hop on that Peloton there,
Yeah.
son.
Yeah. Wow.
I don't know. I feel like that list was exceedingly accurate. And I
Yeah.
know I said that before we started, but
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
What does that guy know? He knows too much.
so here's one question before we move on to news for you.
Yeah.
I want one prediction from you for 3025.
3025? That's 1,000 years.
Or not 3000. No. 2125.
2125.
100 years from now. 100 years from now, what's the big prediction? Don't. What are you
my
googling?
gosh.
You don't. What do you can't. You can't
No,
Google. What are you googling?
No, I just have another thing I want to think about. A society as we know it will not exist.
Well, never mind. What were you gonna say?
I don't know. I don't know. 100 years from now, what could I see? I think you'll see a rise in like technological implants and like body modifications. Like people were like you heard a lot about that like 5 or 6 years ago when people were putting like chips in their fingers to use like tap to pay essentially.
Right.
I think you may see that become more mainstream, and maybe some more of that, like mind-to-mind communication stuff.
Well, Tesla and Elon were doing stuff where they implanted something in some dude's head.
Yeah, I wouldn't trust Elon to do that now, though.
Well, I think it worked though, like pretty well for the most part.
Yeah.
Like they did some sort of device where he could control it with just his mind, which was kind of weird.
That's true. That's crazy. I could see something like that. Though. What about you? What's your prediction?
I don't know. I feel like the big thing at school, like at work, is that I think, what did they say, 50% of people in school right now are going to school for jobs that don't even exist yet.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, you do hear that a lot.
I feel like in 100 years, things are going to be so different that we can't even
begin to predict
what's going on.
Yeah.
I feel like we're gonna by that point we'll probably run out of fossil fuels. I would think.
Yeah.
And so I feel like there'll be some sort of alternative or we're gonna have to do something. I mean,
yeah.
At some point it's a finite resource. So when we run out,
that it is.
Then there'll be some sort of. I'm sure by then they'll come up with some sort of alternative for it. But
yeah.
I think that's the big prediction, is that there will be some sort of alternative for fossil fuels, because I assume we'll be out by then. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I don't hate that.
All right. Our news.
Oh, is that the jingle?
Our news. Yeah. That's actually just the Conan jingle, but yeah. So, sticking with my attire, I'm going to go first if you don't mind.
Yeah, that's fine. Go for it.
Sticking with my attire today and my very toasty warm winter hat and my space heater down by my foot, Minnesota Ice Festival boasts world's largest ice maze. And guess what? It's another Guinness World Record. So the Minnesota Ice Festival's 18,148.88 square foot ice maze has officially been certified as the largest in the world by Guinness World Records. The festival's maze, which features 8-foot high walls and multiple twists and turns, took the record from a Buffalo, New York ice maze that covered the area of 13,000 square feet, and that was all the way back in 2010. So,
jeez.
Minnesota's got it figured out. I mean, you can't.
Yeah.
It's hard to compete with Buffalo, but obviously, Minnesota almost doubling the size. Well, not almost doubling, but maybe about 6,000 more, 5,000 more square foot in their maze, which is kind of cool. The maze was constructed from 3,452 blocks of ice, each weighing about 425 pounds. So,
jeez,
very impressive.
Yeah.
Very, very impressive. They're available on Instagram. The Minnesota Gal and MN.ice. You can see this photo of the. Oh, it's a reel.
Oh.
Photo of them /reel getting the world record and opening it up. Looks really cool. It's really cold though. I'm going to stay inside with my light, with my heater and my hat. And my Sherpa lined shirt, and you can catch me on the flip side.
There you go.
That's all I have to say.
All right.
Boom.
Well,
Mic drop.
my stories. I have two actually, and they're both deer related because I like weird deer stories. Okay. So
Hey,
I'll
quick
run
joke
through these
before you
quick.
start.
Yeah.
Quick joke before you start. What do you call a deer that does not have any eyes?
I don't know.
No idea.
Okay, good one. So the first one takes us to Michigan, and this is entitled "Deer Crashes Through Window of Michigan Medical Office." And this thing just completely jumped through the window. It was a doctor's office.
Did it have
crashed through
eyes?
a window. It did have eyes. It became
Supposed to say
lost.
no idea.
Listen to this too. It became lost in the building. and it was having trouble exiting through a closed window, and they were able to eventually get the deer out of the building, which I think is hilarious because I'm still convinced that deer are not very smart animals, and this one was very clearly lost after just Kool-Aid Manning through this window. So that's the first deer, and this is another good one. This one takes us to Chicago, actually.
Chicago.
This was entitled "Deer with Head Stuck in Plastic Jar Believed to Have Freed Itself." It sparked a search in Chicago with spotted with a plastic jar stuck over its head. It was apparently able to free itself. The Chicago State Conservation Police, Cook County Animal Control, and Chicago Animal Care and Control they responded to a cemetery on the southwest side after the deer was spotted with its head stuck in a jar. They couldn't find the deer, but the following morning, members of the public who joined in the search found the jar empty and abandoned. So the deer freed itself somehow, and then it ran all the way to Michigan and jumped through a window.
Well, deer are interesting. They find themselves in some interesting situations because
Yes.
we used to get, like, once in a great while we'd get a deer in the subdivision.
Yeah.
Like in my childhood subdivision.
Yeah, we would as
There's
well.
no forest around where we're at. So I don't know where this deer would come from.
They
but
just
like
find.
it would just
I don't
like
know.
you say his name and he appears. It was just
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like the deer just was out of nowhere, and they're just like out there licking salt. They're like, as deer do.
I recently found this. It's a TikTok page about. It's just dedicated to dash cam footage of like dumb deer on the road, just like standing in the middle of the road, just staring at a car trying to get by it, or just animals getting in the way of cars, and it's hilarious.
Dude, that is funny. My dad just got a dash cam, by the way. Did I tell you this?
Oh gosh,
I don't think I did.
We're bound to have some stories.
I know. Well,
Bound to have some stories.
I know we're almost out of time, but he every day I talk to this man, he's like, you would not believe the amount of cars that pull out in front of me in this black car.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, what? He's like, since I've got this black car, everybody's pulling out in front of me. I'm like, you are insane. Like, you are. This is not a real issue
Oh my gosh.
that you have. And he's like, well, I've got a dash cam now, and so I'm going to record all the videos of all these people pulling out in front of me. He hasn't shown me a single video that is accurate.
wait.
So, and he's had this for 2 weeks. So, I maintain he's full of baloney. But
Who's
you know what?
keeping
We'll
track?
wait and see.
Who's keeping
Yeah.
track, you know?
We'll wait for the next fight in the Raising Cane's parking lot and catch it on the dash cam.
There
so
you
we can
go.
watch it
Yeah,
live.
that's not bad. Yeah, we may need to. We may need to. Oh,
Wow.
too good.
That was good. I like
That was.
that. Well,
Yeah.
we'll have to. I forgot what the other list that we were going to do. I'll have to go back and watch it so we can
Yeah,
can
we'll
go
need to
through
find
another
another one.
list next week because
Yeah.
inventions that were like
that came from
accidentally
other
discovered.
things. Yes.
Right, that came from other things. So, all
Yes.
right, we'll put that in the docket for next week. Make
Yep.
sure you're here to catch that episode. I think this one was pretty fun. So
It was.
we've been posting a lot more on social media, which is cool. We've been
Yeah.
posting a lot more clips. So make sure you follow us on all of our social media platforms that Reid will tell you about.
Yeah,
now.
Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Spotify. And make sure to follow the TikTok before it goes away on the 19th.
Dude, it's not going away. Mr. Beast is going to buy it. Did you see that?
Gosh. Yeah, I did see that.
Mr.
Yeah.
Dude, he's a regular billionaire now. So
He sure is.
yeah, go follow us on
Yep.
TikTok before it gets
Yeah.
banned.
Yep.
Catch some quality content from the Basement Birds.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll catch you on the next one.
See ya.